Hello DC fans, and welcome to my review of Batman vs Superman, Dawn of Justice. The highly anticipated crossover movie, finally for the first time in cinematic history, two iconic comic characters from the DC universe have been plunked onto the screen together, and here we are. This is it's a film in the DC cinematic universe. I don't know if it's the beginning. Apparently, Man of Steel is the beginning of it, but yeah. The plot of Batman vs Superman is that there is a lot of controversy surrounding the events at the end of Man of Steel. Obviously, because Superman was involved in that, and Batman had seen all of the destruction that Superman caused, and so that is part of the big kind of conflict. That is the big setup for their conflict. And you've got Amy Adams as Lois Lane, you know, investigating her kind of investigation, and Lex Luthor, who comes in, who wants to harness the kryptonite energy in order to use it to create Doomsday. Ooh, scary. All you need to know is that it's Batman and Superman, and then, you know, that's it. So, yeah. Batman vs Superman. I don't know what I'm going to say with this one. I don't know. It was very odd. I don't know. I went in with limited expectations because of the reviews. I'm not a huge DC fan, but I like Batman and I like some of the stuff. I don't mind Superman, but I'm not crazy about the films. I haven't actually seen all of the films. I'm going to review all of the Superman films after this because I've got the Batman films and I'm going to plunk them all into this playlist. But Batman vs Superman Dawn of Justice, I don't know. I found it very disappointing, to be honest. I just thought that, for me, the thing that drags this film down is Zack Snyder. I'm sorry, I mean, he's not a bad director, but I mean, he's got a good visual style, I'll give him that. But the storytelling was just all over the place here. First of all, I kind of had trouble keeping up the plot. I've kind of forgotten some of the plot. Anyway, I did see the film 2 days ago, and I've actually forgotten some of the plot, which is not good. It's very disjointed. It's very disjointed, and it's kind of, I don't know. It just doesn't really make sense. So the storytelling needed to be improved upon very much. And I just found the first half of this movie so boring. It dragged itself on forever. And, you know, I mean, it's a shame because I wanted to like it. I wanted to be surprised because Man of Steel wasn't all that, from what I remember anyway. I will review it, don't worry. But it just wasn't... it was missing that substance. There was too much talking in the first half. I mean, I wouldn't normally criticise the film for this, but it needed more action. It needed more action. I mean, the action scenes that were there were good until the finale. Yeah, I mean, let's talk about some good stuff. I liked Ben Affleck and Henry Cavill. I thought they were both good leads. I think Ben Affleck makes for a great Batman, and the voice really works, and I love the car and all that, and he kicks ass when he's fighting those action sequences, and Henry Cavill as Superman continues to impress me. He's definitely proven to be a worthy successor of the role, and the part obviously when they do have their fight is very good. You know, it's very entertaining. And I like that there's a nice connection between them, that their mothers have the same name. That was a nice reference. the music was okay, but some of the score was very much like Man of Steel. So it wasn't the most original score in the world. Sorry, Hans Zimmer. The production design is good. You can tell that there's been a huge budget well spent. The rest of most of the cast are all fine. Like, you've got Laurence Fishburne who returns. He gets a bit more to do. You've got Diane Lane, who's quite good. Jeremy Irons plays Alfred really well. I like Jeremy Irons as Alfred. He's very good. And Amy Adams, Amy Adams as Lois Lane. How could I forget about Amy Adams? Amy Adams is really good. I think she's proven herself to be a really good actress. Over the past about 10 years, she's proven herself to be a really good actress, and she's got herself out there, and she plays Lois Lane really well. And she deals with much more of the emotional side of the character towards the end of the film, but I won't spoil that. Although the ending is very predictable, which is a shame. And there's a moment when she does, there's a bath scene, which isn't too bad. But, as it stands, her performance is very good. I like her. But there is a weak link of the cast, and oh boy, you guessed it. Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor. What the fuck? Who the fuck casted this guy? I mean, Jesse Eisenberg isn't a bad actor, but what the fuck? That was not Lex Luthor. That was not Lex Luthor. He was just fucking terrible. I mean, he was awful. Like, he tried too hard to be, like, creepy and insane and weird, like, yeah. He was too eccentric. He was way too eccentric for the role, and he's too young for the role as well. Like, he should have just simplified it a bit more. I mean, Kevin Spacey was great Lex Luthor. They should have got Kevin Spacey to come back, who was in Superman Returns. Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor was a fucking joke. Whoever casted him should be ashamed. And I doubt this is probably the last we'll see of him. I mean, the ending is quite good when they show him his hair gets all shaved, which is quite interesting. But he's terrible, absolutely terrible. I mean, the whole plot about the Kryptonite is interesting and all, but I feel like a lot of this isn't explained. It's bloated. It's a big film. It's a long film as well. There's too much going on in this film. It just doesn't live up to the hype, and the finale is, it's just a bit. It reminds Man of Steel, when people said, the third act is like just action, action, action. Well, this is kind of like that. I mean, Doomsday was really cool and everything, and it's nice to see Wonder Woman there, but at the end of the day, I found myself getting very bored, and it looked a bit like a video game cutscene, which is not good. I mean, the action was cool, and the action was better than Man of Steel, but there were still some moments when it wasn't the best. And this film is just way too long. It is way too long. 2.5 hours long. You could cut basically most of the first hour. It should have been 2 hours. It should have been 2 hours. I mean, that climax is just bloated, and the event at the end is totally predictable. It kind of pissed me off. The scenes in the desert, though, in like Afghan or wherever it is, they were really good. And when Bruce had his kind of vision, that was really cool. And the opening when Lois was rescued by Superman, that was great. And there's other references to other characters like Cyborg and Flash and Aquaman. There's some nice references in there, so that it will please the fans. But I just feel that Zack Snyder isn't as good a dramatist as he thinks he is. I don't think he assembled this film very well. I mean, the opening is very good, actually. I was very surprised by the opening. I mean, even though that you know what it is. It's flashbacks of Batman's Bruce Wayne's parents being murdered, and then him running into the garden, and he falls in the well, which is what we saw in Batman Begins, but briefly in the '89 film. And you know, I just thought to myself when I was watching it, this is impressive and all, and I like the music and everything, but if you're going to do it, why don't you show some of Superman's origins as well? You know, people say that this film was felt more like a Batman film. I actually respectfully disagree. I say it feels more like a Superman film. They spend a lot of time in the Daily Planet, and that's what dragged the film down for me. They spent too much time in the Daily Planet with all the journalistic plot, you know, all the news and media plot. That was kind of tiresome, and it did kind of drag on a bit. So they could have shortened that down a lot. I mean, there's a really tense scene in the court, which is really quite tense. That was one of the best scenes in the movie. That was directed really well. The rest of the movie's just kind of slapped together. It's very run of the mill. I mean, looking back on it, I don't think I dislike it as much as I did when I watched it. Maybe I was tired at the time, but I just feel that it could have been more. It wasn't bad, I suppose, but there were problems with it, a lot of problems with it that I needed to address. But I think the production design is impressive. There are things in it which are good. There are good ideas, and it is, to an extent, impressive, but only for the DC fans. I think if you're not a DC fan, or not at least a Batman or Superman fan, you're not going to like it. And Wonder Woman was just thrown in there, well, because, you know, fan service. You know, her character, I didn't understand, like, why Bruce Wayne was following her around and everything. You know, and then she turns up at the end. Why? She didn't do anything for most of the film. Maybe that was me. I might need to rewatch it. I might actually go and rewatch it if I can. But at the end of the day, Batman vs Superman for me was a bit disappointing. It could have been a lot more. I thought it was alright up until the third act, when I didn't like that. But it was just kind of, it was boring. That's the biggest thing of it. It's kind of boring. Like, a lot of the first half is just filler. And, you know, actually, you know, thinking about it, I think Man of Steel might be better. And then everybody hated Man of Steel. But I don't know. It doesn't do it for me. I might need to go and watch it again to reassess it, but overall I'm going to give this film a 5 out of 10. Also, I'd say the editing is quite good. If the pacing had been tightened up, then it would be better. I'm not excited for Justice League. I just think Zack Snyder should just piss off, and we should have someone else direct, because he kind of lets, you know, the first kind of, you know, 20 to 30 minutes, I was like, okay, this is actually somewhat promising. I'm actually kind of liking this, you know. I liked the party scene, not when they met Lex Luthor, but when the two of them, Batman and Superman, when they met, that was really cool. But, yeah. I mean, there are good things in it, but it lacks the substance. That's what I'm saying. But overall, that's my review of Batman vs Superman. I'd still go and see it if you're a DC fan. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Put your comments down below. Let me know. Tune in next time when I review Superman the movie. I'm going to review all the Superman films. I have reviewed all the Batman films, so do check those out. And then I might do an ultimate ranking of Batman and Superman films. So yeah, I would, all two separate rankings actually. I'll see, I'll decide. But anyway, thank you all for watching. As always, I'm Mr. Times 11. See ya.